Francesca's POV. Hindi ako kaagad nakagalaw. Nakita ko ang paglapit ng mga tao sa komosyon sa gitna. No! No! I shook my head and in my wobbling legs, walked towards the road and saw him on the ground. Jericho? My voice broke as I ran towards his direction. Hinawi ko na ang mga tao para makalayo sa kanya. Jericho! His eyes are still open when he saw me. Medyo nakatigilid si Jericho roon at nanginginig ang kamay ko na makitang dugo mula sa kanyang kamay. I took out my handkerchief and placed it there to help him stop the bleeding. Are you okay? He asked that even in the weakest state, and I nodded, sniffing. Don't cry, I'm okay. No! I shook my head again. I was panicking, almost breaking down seeing him on this state, but I took a deep breath and looked around. Please call an ambulance, I told the people around who did not hesitate to do so when I told them. Calm down, Francesca, I whispered to myself and held my stomach as I carefully knelt on the ground. Miss, wag kang lalapit. I'm a doctor, I explained kaya't napatango-tango sila at tumugot ako ng malalim na hininga. Mabilis sinilip ang ulo ng asawa ko. Is your Mabilis kong tagnong at saglit si Jericho umungol na mahina bago sumagot. I don't know. The pain etched on his face. I am numb. You can understand me, right? I cleared out and he hummed again. Pain is still on his face. Hindi ko siya kaagad ginalaw. I was shaking and sniffing but I know I have to do my job as a doctor right now that my husband is here. Checking his position, I noticed the impact was centered on his lower leg, but still remembering the way he tried dodging the car, it lessened the impact. The position looked awkward and risky, kaya agad akong bumalik sa may ulo ng asawa ko para tingnan kung tumama iyon. To my relief, walang dugo doon pero hindi ibig sabihin ligtas na siya. Kapag may namuong clot sa ulo niya, mas mapanganib kaya kumalabog ang puso ko. Every passing minute, the patient's condition can worsen. Did you call the ambulance, sir? Tanong ko nang tumayo-tayo siya, sinuklay ko ang buhok ko at muling lumuhod sa gilid ng asawa kong napapapikit na. Don't sleep on me, babe. I called the ambulance is coming, okay? They're coming. He hummed at mas sumikip ang dibdib ko na makitang dugo sa gilid ng kanyang noo. Are you okay? I'm fine. My voice broke. Don't ask about me. Ayos lang ako, okay? Okay. Ikaw ang nasa panganib ngayon. Don't sleep on me. He hummed again pero nahuhulog na ang talukap ng kanyang mga mata kaya mas nanginig ako. Our baby. Ayos lang kami. Ayos lang. I assured him again. Do not sleep on me, din Jericho. Look at me. His jet black eyes met mine and he even flashed a weak smile. Don't cry. Halos bulong na nasabi ni Jericho. Sumusubok pang abutin ako. Don't move, Jericho. I reminded. Don't move. I'm sorry. From my husband, my eyes shifted from the voice direction at tumiim ang bagang ko na makita ko sino yon. Francesca, I'm sorry. Vanessa cried more when she saw my husband's state. I blacked out and I lost it. Napatayo ako at namuo ang galit sa dibdib. How dare he do that? Francesca. Jericho's voice filled my ears again. Don't. I squinted my eyes, closed and closed my fist. Please, call the police. Baling ko sa enforcer malapit sa amin. Don't let this woman go. Turo ko kay Vanessa na halos nakaluhod na at umiiyak. Sorry, Francesca. She cried loudly. Dean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Tumango siya. Malapit na raw pong ambulansya rin. I nodded and brushed my hair again. Mabilisan kong hinawi ang luha ko at muling lumapit sa asawa. No, he whispered. I won't. I shook my head. I'm fine, don't sleep on me, babe. Look at me. Our eyes locked and his weak eyes gave me the assurance it's fine, but I still cannot calm down. Not a moment later, the ambulance came. The police too at kinuha nila ang umiiyak na si Vanessa. Sorry, please, I'm so sorry. Paumanhin niya. Di na nagpumiglas pa sa mga pulis nang kunin siya. I was crying while inside of the ambulance. My husband lost consciousness when the medic took him from the ground. The reason I was stressed out. Doktora Karingal? The medic gave me a bottle of water. Magiging ayos lang po si Doc. Huwag po niya ngayong umiyak. Ang anak niyo po. Thank you. I whispered and stared at my husband. He will be alright, right? Opo. He smiled reassuringly. Nasabihan na po namin ng ospital. Nandun na po si Mrs. Falcon. They did their best to stop the bleeding on his arm, and when we reached the hospital, nakaabang ng emergency room para sa kanya. Francesca? Muli, bumuhos ang luha ko na makita si Tita Olivia na umiiyak nang makita ko. Tita? I called and sobbed more when she hugged me tight and touched my back. He will be alright, she assured me. Jonathan is already there with Greg. They will make sure he is safe. No assurance is enough to calm me down while waiting for them to tell us what's happening. I couldn't get inside the operating room and Tita Olivia is with me together with Amber. Ate, kain ka muna. Amber's soft voice filled my ear as she extended a sandwich she had in her hand. Salamat, Amber. Mahinang sabi ko at sumandal sa kanya. Niyakap naman niya ang braso ko at bumulong. Magiging ayos din si Kuya, she whispered. He is strong. Ilang beses na ngayon nagkaganyan pero tingnan mo. Alive and kicking. It's the second time. I mumbled and glanced at her but she shook her head and smiled. I am gonna tell you a secret. She smiled at me. This is actually the third time. What? My voice raised kaya tinakpan ko ang labi. Napapasulyap kay Tita Olivia, nakausap si Tito Jonathan sa may pintuan. When Mommy is pregnant with Kuya, she got into an accident too. She pouted. The cold man is strong. Sabi ko nga sa'yo ate, Mr. Yellow yan. Kasi singtigas ng yellow ulo niyan, kahit anong umpog mo. Natulala ako at napaisip. Really? She smiled at me. So I know he will be alright. Besides, you told me nakakausap mo siya kanina. I gave her a small nod and that's when she tapped my shoulder. Kuya will be alright, you'll see. She smiled reassuringly. When Tita Olivia walked towards us, I was nervous. Napatayo ako at ganun din si Amber na hinawakan ng braso ko para alalayan. Come on, Greg. Greg will come out in a while. She said gently and held my hand before pulling towards me. My heart is pounding harshly inside my chest while waiting for Tito Greg, his neurologist, to come out of that room. Kaya nang lumabas siya, tila lalabas na rin ang puso ko sa kaba. Olivia, Francesca, he called when he saw us. How's my husband, Tito? I asked. Is he okay? Kinakabahan ako na hindi maipaliwanag. Kumuyom ang kamay ko. Pinagmasdan siya pero sa awa ng Diyos gumiti siya at tumango. He is. Sagot niya at doon na ako nagpakawala ng buntong hininga. He has no bleeding externally, pero na lang sa braso niyang nasugatan. Napilayan siya but thankfully, he positioned when he was hit helped in lessening the impact. Wala namang tama or sugat ang ulo niya pero hindi pa rin tayong pwedeng pakakampante. We will conduct CT scan to check and to make sure he is safe. Napapikit ako paghulog ng mata sa pisngi kaya agad ko yung pinunasan. Thank you, I whispered. Salamat po, Doc. No worries. We'll do everything to make sure he is fine. He smiled. Jericho's a tough one, right, Olivia? Thankfully, he is. Tita laughed a little. That kid has gone through a lot. Nasa sinapupunan ko pa lang niya noon na lamog na yata. Tito Jonathan went out of the room too with a small smile pero nawala na makita si Tita Olivia na mariin ang tingin sa kanya. Kasalanan mo to, Jonathan? She hissed and it made my heart felt lighter when Tito laughed and caught her for a hug. He's fine, babe. He actually woke up earlier and asked where his wife is. Sumulyap sa akin si Tito. Can I talk to him po? Marahang tanong ko. Yes, but he is sleeping now. Maybe you should rest first, anak, for the baby too. His eyes softened when he glanced at my stomach. I nodded. Hindi ko na pinilit pang makita si Jericho dahil nakakaramdam na rin ako ng hilo. Amber held my hand. Rin ang tingin na Feby, papalapit sa aking pwesto. Kai! I called but stopped when I realized my head is now spinning. Medyo nanlabo ang paningin ko. Pakiramdam ko lumiit na sa aking paningin, kaya't napapikit ako at napalapit ako kay Amber. Ate? She called, and I closed my eyes and gripped her arm for more. Amber? I called weakly. I think My voice faded when my head spun more, and I didn't know what happened next. When I opened my eyes, the familiar white four-sided wall welcomed me. Basing from the smell of the antiseptic, I know I am in the hospital. Talia, hello. Tita Olivia's voice filled my ear, kaya medyo ginalaw kong ulo at sinulyapan siya. Nakitang nasa gilid siya at nakatayo. We are alone in the room, and basing on her voice, she is worried and enraged at the same time. I'm sorry to call you this late, she mumbled. but I need some help. Is it okay? Hope is laced on her tone. My son got hit by a car. We are in the hospital now. She sighed. The thing here is, I think this is an attempted murder. She is currently in the station. Is it okay if you will come with me? Is your husband there? Can I ask for help? She listened for a while until her face lit up. Really? She smiled. Her dimples deepened. Thank you so much, Talia. Thank you. Thank you. I miss you. See you later. When she cut the phone call, she was smiling. Magaan ang kanyang ekspresyon pero napanganga siya na makita ko. Francesca! She exclaimed and ran towards me, helping me up. Tita! You fainted, anak? She gasped. Are you okay now? Jonathan said you're just stressed and starving. Okay lang po ako. Okay ka lang din, don't worry. Si Jericho po? Mahinang tanong ko. Oh, he's fine now. She smiled reassuringly. He is resting, like you. You can visit him tomorrow. Magpahinga muna kayo ng apo ko ngayon. Nagpaluto ako ng pagkain para sa inyo ni baby. Francesca, it will be here soon. Amber and your friends will be here to accompany you. Aalis muna kami ng asawa ko papuntang presinto. Vanessa came across my mind again, kaya bumigat na naman ang pakiramdam ko. You know my sister, right? She asked and nodded. Talia's husband is a prosecutor and her son is a lawyer. They're gonna help us press charges against the conniving woman. Can I come? I asked. Oh no, it's okay, anak. She squeezed my hand. You should rest. Gusto ko pong sumama, tita. Please? I pleaded and closed my eyes tightly. Please. Hindi siya nagsalita kaagad. Nagwangbulat ako at saka ko lamang nakita ang lambing ng kanyang titig habang nakatingin sa akin. Alright, she nodded. But before we go, you should eat first, okay? After eating and checking my husband's condition, we went to the precinct where Vanessa is. Magkahaway kami ni tita habang papasok sa presinto. Tito Jonathan is busy calling someone on the phone and a handsome police officer welcomed us when we got inside. Mrs. Falcon? The man with gray eyes asked. Yes. Nandiyan na ba sila? Tita Olivia asked. Yes, ma'am. Attorney Alkiel is on the way. He checked his wristwatch. Lieutenant Colonel Dimitrov? He introduced. I smiled at him and nodded. Nakipagkamay ako at ganon din sa tita. Thank you, sir. Tita smiled. This way, ma'am. He motioned the way kaya't sumunod kami roon. Tito Jonathan followed us. Kaagad siyang humawak kay tita nang papasok na kami sa isang private room sa loob ng presinto. My blood immediately boiled when I saw Vanessa sitting a man beside her with her swollen eyes. She looked like a lost child and yet I couldn't give her mercy. Nat? Tita Talia. Tita Olivia's sister stood to greet us. Francesca? Hello po, marahang sabi ko. She smiled and nodded. Inawakan niya ang braso ko bago lumapit sa may upuan doon kung nasa ng asawa niya. This is my husband, Inigo. She introduced. This is Francesca, baby, Jericho's wife. The strict-looking blue-eyed man glanced my way before offering me a small smile. Nice meeting you, Miss Francesca. Nice meeting you too, prosecutor. Mahinang sabi ko at nakipagkamay sa kanya. My eyes landed in front of me and Vanessa's eyes avoided mine. She lowered her head more and gulped harshly. Attorney Melo Alejes? The man beside her introduced. I am Vanessa's lawyer and father. I was stunned by it. Didn't know why you should do this to us? Knowing her father is a man of law? I'm very sorry, I'm late. A familiar man went inside the room. Attorney Alquiel Sandejas, Jericho's lawyer. He introduced and sat beside me. He greeted me kaya ngumiti ako at tumango. Mahinang nagpasalamat na pumunta siya para lang tulungan kami. Magandang gabi. He greeted everyone and took the folders out of his case. Miss Vanessa Alejes, correct? I guess we knew each other well, miss. He sounded professional but why does it give me the creeps? Muli pong napasulap si Vanessa sa abogado nang bahagya pa itong napag-iwas ng tingin. A hit-and-run incident a year ago? Tampering of evidence and another one this time. He read his file. Also, it wasn't the case file but it was reported before you threatened Mr. Falcon with a knife, correct? That's right, Tita Olivia said. My son got insured and had a stab on his arm that night. Vanessa's father and the same time his lawyer looked tired and weak too. Nakita kong pagpikit niya ng mariin habang narinig iyon. After that hit-and-run accident, you tampered the evidences by paying the establishment to wipe it out, he explained. After all, you are seen approaching the victim like you did nothing and brainwash him to cover what you did. That is not true, his lawyer said. My daughter would never do that. Turns out, she can. Prosecutor Sendejas said coldly and showed us something from his laptop. No records are seen from the CCTV around the establishments where the accident happened, but we obtained a copy from a black box in a nearby car near the area. He played the video and a car was seen accelerating towards Jericho's direction that morning after that marriage until it hit him. The car stopped for a while, but then proceeded into speeding away from the scene. Dad! Shell called. The prosecutor stopped the video. As you can see, this plate number is registered under a rental car wherein Miss Alejes is the registered client. It must be a mistake, Attorney Alejes explained. My daughter is not like that. Why won't we ask your daughter, Attorney? Attorney Shial asked coldly. Miss Vanessa, it was you who did that. Am I correct? My client has the right to remain silent. I do, Vanessa murmured, stopping his father. Vanessa, he exclaimed. The hell are you doing? I did that, Dad, okay? She exclaimed. Kasalanan ko. I was so mad because he rejected me. I told him I'm in love with him. That he should get back to me, but you know what he told me? He said he's in love with his wife. I am hurt, okay? Kasi ako dapat yung asawa niya, na dapat ako, but he did not choose me. Kumuyom lang ang kamay ko at tumugot ng hininga para kalmahin ang sarili. No, you don't? He shook his head. He is stunned too upon hearing that from his daughter. Don't say that, Vanessa. Did you threaten you? I'll do anything. What do you like? Just tell me. You did not do that. You cannot possibly do that. Well, newsflash, Dad. I did. Her eyes turned slits. Sa kabila ng tapang noon ay ang luha sa gilid ng kanyang mga mata. No! His father shook his head and laughed blankly. You are all lying. You just wanted to frame my daughter? She could not do that. I did, Dad. You cannot be blind this time, Vanessa. Bakit? Bakit? Totoo naman, she exclaimed. Puro ka kliyente. Puro ka trabaho. Lahat kayo. Lahat kayo walang pakialam sa akin. Lahat kayo walang alam kasi wala kayong balak alamin. Si Jericho lang ang meron ako noon pero... Her voice weakened. No! He shook his head and we caught how a tear fell from his father's eyes. You can't. I did. Vanessa smiled blankly. I did hit him. Why are you crying, Dad? Huh? Finally, you realize I needed you and you were nowhere? Did you realize how alone I am, huh? I was caged in that damn hospital and yet no one. She cried loudly. No one visited. Walang may pakialam sa akin. Bumigat ang pakiramdam ko, kaya tumitig ako sa kamay. Maging sina prosecutor at si tita ay tahimik. Hindi nagsisalita habang ganon ang mag-ama. I remembered what I told her just earlier. Being an adopted child is hard, but what's harder is knowing that you're biological parents and yet it felt like you never had a family. It hit Jericho. She glanced at us. Attorney Sendejas, I admit to all my crimes. Francesca, I was even planning to get rid of you and the baby. Para sa akin na ang asawa mo. Hulihin niyo na ako. Malamig niyang sabi, pero namuo na lamang sa akin ay awa. She might have become better if her family showed their support. Maybe may pag-asa pa sana siyang umayos. Wala nang umimik doon. Attorney Alejes is staring at nowhere. In the side of his eyes are tears. Malinaw na inamin ni Miss Alejes ang mga krimen. Si Attorney Alquiel ang nagsimula. Ang impormasyong to binigyan sa amin ilang buwan nang nakakaraan, ngunit di naman siya makasampa ng kaso dahil sa kanyang mental state noong panahong iyon. Gayunpaman, siya ay pinakawalan kamakailan at ginawatot di naman maaaring pumikit sa isang ito dahil ito'y halos magbuwis ng buhay ni Mr. Falcon. Tumahimik siya at pinakita sa kanyang file. Pag-amin na nasasakdal sa kanyang mga krimen. Gayunpaman kung may mga karagdagang petisyon, maaari mo kaming tawagan at magkita-kita kami sa korte. Naglagay siya ng card sa harap nila. Tumayo na kami. Attorney Achiel nodded and the police officer silently watching walked closer to us and took a handcuff from his jeans. Miss Vanessa Alejes, you are under arrest for attempted murder. He said and took her hand and caged it in a handcuff. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford, one will be appointed for you. Attorney Alejes remained staring at his daughter, looking confused and lost too.